Many scientists are beginning to believe that a vaccine against AIDS may be impossible to make and too dangerous to test.
If you take it and then a year goes by and everybody's fine, then you say, okay, that's good. Now let's give it to 500 people. And then a year goes by and everything's fine. You say, well, then now let's give it to thousands of people. And then you find out that it takes 12 years for all hell to break loose. And then what have you done?
Covert action agency. Covert action being overthrowing or supporting foreign governments. Another part of covert action is disinformation. And the American people, in my estimation, are the primary target audience of the agency's disinformation operation. And I view Vietnam, the entire Vietnam War, was brought to us, sold to us, by agency disinformation operations. When I say us, I mean the American people.
All right, so all of the quote-unquote crazy shit that you said wasn't going to happen, happened. Maybe I'm thinking it's time to bring the kids home, you know?
You tell who you are,
fucking monster.
what you do, and actually where you live as well.
I'm Matt Hancock. I'm the UK Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, and I'm also the proud shareholder of Genomics England, which is one of the most cutting-edge organisations for genome sequencing in the world. And we, in December, hit the target of 100,000 whole genome sequenced, and we have reiterated a new goal of reaching a million in the UK over the next 5 years, and the critical next phase will be to deliver that within clinical settings in a way that improves people's lives.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm Alex. Let's make friends. How are you?
I need my own QR code. How do I get my own QR code? How do I get my own QR code? I have to have my own QR code before I'm into Whole Foods?
Means you don't have to stand in line when you leave.
What do they do? They just what?
It just knows you have it because it scans it.
It knows you have products?
Yeah, it's like the Wi-Fi or whatever it is. It scans the products.
Whoa. And this is the future of grocery stores? Whoa. Who did this first?
I mean, to be totally frank, almost every conspiracy theory that people had about Twitter turned out to be true. So, like, is there a conspiracy theory about Twitter that didn't turn out to be true? So far, they've all turned out to be true. And if not, more true than people thought.
People thought? You meant sheeple, man. I never gave a fuck about any of it. Shit, it's all fake. Trump, Elon Musk, quit being a cuck, man. These people are not on our side. People.
You know, you still need help from the boss. We need help from the boss. That's what happened. We need help.
The president also instructed the intelligence community to take a broad look at the phenomenon of unidentified aerial objects. Indeed, President Biden conducted the first ever daily intelligence briefing session devoted to this phenomenon back in June of 2021. He was briefed that this is not just an issue for the United States, but one for the rest of the world. And as I said, our friends and our partners are dealing with this as well. We worked on a bipartisan basis to stand up an office at the Pentagon to study this, in partnership with the intelligence community, academic institutions, and the private sector. These unidentified aerial phenomena have been reported for many years without explanation or deep examination by the government. President Biden has changed all that. We are finally trying to understand them better.
Doing it. They're shooting at aliens. Do you think that something that could travel across space and time is going to sit there and just wait for you to scramble a fighter jet and then shoot it? Let's give them another galaxy. This is what I've been thinking was coming. They're staging a war with an alien species. You know why? Because money. Because a lot of fucking money, that's why. Because they're gonna scare the fuck out of everybody, and they're gonna put all the money in the military, and that's the reason. Aliens are fucking everywhere, okay? We're surrounded by them. I've seen like 20 fucking UFOs myself. Who hasn't? Right? This is just a bunch of fucking rich cunts that are gonna try and make a war out of thin air. Just like everything else they do.
An unidentified object in the sky today over Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeting, "I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace." NORAD command shot down the object over the Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft was scrambled and a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object. Trudeau says he also spoke to President Biden and Canadian forces will work to recover the wreckage. This as the U.S. military is in the process of recovering the wreckage of another unidentified object shot down Friday off the coast of Alaska. The White House saying this object was flying at 40,000 feet, posing a threat to civilian aircraft.
Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object. And they did.
One senior official describing it as cylindrical and silverish gray. The Pentagon saying it's about the size of a small car.
Do you have anything to say about the object shot down over Alaska, Mr. President?
The White House says the object was first detected Thursday evening. Fighter jets sent to observe, determining it was unmanned. The president briefed Thursday, giving the order to shoot it down Friday morning. An F-22 fighter jet taking the shot at 1:45 p.m. This object didn't appear to have the gondola underneath it like the suspected Chinese spy balloon that was brought down off the coast of the Carolinas.
There's no indication that it had any capability to be powered or to steer in a particular direction or to collect intelligence.
President Biden has faced some criticism for not acting sooner to shoot down that Chinese spy balloon before it transversed the United States. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski says Friday's action sends a better message.
Any aspect of U.S. sovereign territory that is encroached upon, there's going to be consequences to it.
On Friday, the military announced they had found the massive technology bay from that Chinese spy balloon at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
A
questions about this object. This is just really developing in the last couple of minutes or so, and it comes, remember, as they were exploring potentially another object that radars got a hit on over Montana overnight, one that Senator John Tester, the Democrat from Montana, just today said they were still investigating. It's not clear whether this is the same object that perhaps moved across to the Michigan lakes, or if this is another object. This would mean it's the fourth one that the U.S. has shot down since about a week ago when they first shot down the Chinese surveillance balloon, and there really are more questions here than answers. Courtney Cubey and I are able to report that this object was shot down and that there does not appear to be collateral damage, and that they do expect to recover this object, whatever it was, because again, this is different from perhaps the first three that we saw. Chuck Schumer today, the Senate Majority Leader, saying that he received a briefing from Jake Sullivan overnight, who said that these are all different objects than the first one, that Chinese surveillance balloon that spanned the size of 2 to 3 buses big. These are all appearing different in shape and size. We don't know yet if this has anything to do with the Chinese government or whether it is something else. So just a lot of things that we still don't know yet, but it's very clear that U.S. officials in defense and intelligence are zeroing in on these objects and trying to detect them at a much quicker pace. So that's all we know right now. We'll bring you more as we have it.
Vulnerability itself is absolutely essential for growth. So vulnerability, the word itself comes from the Latin word vulnerare, to wound. So vulnerability is our capacity to be wounded. Now the reality is that as human beings we're all vulnerable from conception until death. But when we're hurt in childhood and the vulnerability is too painful to bear, we will try and shut down our vulnerability, and for example by being right. If I'm right, then I'm powerful and I can't be assailed anymore, you know. But when we do that, we stop growing. Everything in nature grows only where it's vulnerable. So a crustacean animal like a crab, inside a hard shell, it can't grow. It has to molt and make itself very vulnerable to be able to grow. A tree doesn't grow where it's hard and thick, does it? It grows where it's soft and green and vulnerable. So vulnerability is absolutely essential for growth. And for vulnerability, you gotta let go of those defenses, such as being right, that you developed as a child in order to protect yourself from the pain.
Will not advance without resistance through the straits of your enforced privation. We will not allow you to steal and destroy the energy that makes our lives bearable and that produces our food and shelter and housing and the sporadic delights of modern life, just to address your existential terror, particularly when it will fail to do so in any case. We will not allow our children to be criticized first for having the temerity to merely exist, and then deprived of the prosperous and opportunity-rich future we strive so hard to prepare for them. We remain unconvinced that your frightened and self-congratulatory moralizing and intellectual pretension, ignorance of the limits of statistics, and misuse of arithmetic. We do not believe, finally, and most absolutely, that your declared emergency and the panic you sow because of it means that you should now be ceded all necessary authority. So, leave us alone, you centralizers of power, you worshippers of power, you sacrificers of the wealth and property of others, you would-be planetary saviors, you Machiavellian pretenders and virtue signalers, objecting to power, all the while you gathered around you madly. Leave us alone. We told you. You got it, man. You got it. Taking a shot. What the? What the fuck was that?